Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've had the strongest recommendation to try what looks like a ludicrously sparse puzzle to me. It's called Gegentakt, and it's by Myxo. And Myxo is basically a genius. I had to look up what Gegentakt meant, and I think it means push-pull or something like that. I don't know whether this is a sort of Dr. Seuss reference or... I just haven't got a clue. But anyway, one of the recommendations we had to this described this as the best Renban arrow Sudoku that they'd ever seen. And apparently it is a work of sublime genius. And that is why we're going to have a go at it. I have no idea how hard it is. But this is what we're going to have a go at. But speaking of puzzles that I have no idea how hard they are, I can tell you, I know exactly how hard this puzzle is. Repeat prescription. I mentioned this in yesterday's video where we did the Dyer Killer Sudoku, which is a wonderful puzzle. Check it out. I said that a number of you had requested I have a go at this puzzle, which is also by Dyer. So I did that last night. Oh my goodness me. It took me a long time. It's a monster. It is a monstrously difficult and clever puzzle. But the puzzle, it did take me, I think, 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. So that video will go live on Patreon. I'm not saying any more about it. But if you want to really break your brains, have a look at that puzzle. I'll try and remember to put a link in the video description. Other than that, we've ticked over into the start of the new month. That means we have a brand new Patreon reward over on Patreon as well, which is a Sudoku hunt by Scojo, Jojo and JoBo, themed on clones. Loads of you loving that. Do check it out. And I have one birthday to do. I'm late again with the birthday. I'm so sorry, Abby. Your boyfriend Joel wrote to us in plenty of time, and I just missed this one. You turned 20 back on the 20th of July. Abby, I hope you had a brilliant birthday. I'm sorry I didn't call it out at the time. I hope you had chocolate cake and it was suitably icing laden. Yeah, that's my birthday for today. For today. So let's have a look at Gegentakt and see what the ludicrously clever Myxo has in store for us. The rules are short, and they are as follows. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, which means we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in the attached circle. So if this square was a 4 and this square was a 2, 4 plus 2 equals 6. That is how arrows work. And then each pink line contains a sequence of consecutive digits in any order. So let's imagine this digit was a 1. Now this arrow, or no, sorry, not arrow, this Renban line would have to contain a consecutive sequence of digits. So to be consecutive, these digits would have to be 2 and 3. And you can see the digits can appear in any order. So similarly, if there was a 9 on here, these would have to be 8 and 7. If this was a 6, these would have to be, well, then it gets complicated because they're either going to be 7 and 8 or 5 and 4 or 5 and 7. So that's where things become a little bit less clear. Maverick, that hasn't taken you long. Maverick's about to buzz past my window. I'm so sorry. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking now. I mean, yeah, my first thought when I look at this grid is it's ludicrously sparse and ludicrously symmetrical. I have to say, I'm instantly wondering if this is a set puzzle because I just don't believe, through, I suppose, experience, long hours spent doing arrow Sudokus, that these little syzygies that we've got in rows 3, 6 and 9 are going to do enough damage. I mean, let's just think that through. Is that really true? I mean, the minimum value of these 4 digits, you know, those 4, these 4, these 4, is 10. If they were 1, 2, 3 and 4, which means in each case the 2 circles that sit beneath the arrows have to add up to at least 10, and each individual circle has to be at least 3 because you can't put less than 1 and 2 on an arrow. Now, how on earth does that do anything? I'm just thinking about whether the given digits affect anything there, but they just don't. And the Ren bands, I mean, I have to say, Myxo, I'm going to start off with this. Whatever the answer to this puzzle is, it is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's ludicrous that this can have a unique solution, isn't it? Isn't that ludicrous? It is ludicrous. Because the other thing is, I don't think the Ren pads are doing very much either. I mean, let's just think about that. If this was a 1, which I think is putting the most pressure possible on these arrows are still fine, because you could still put 2, 3, 4, 5 in. These have to now add up to 14, which is very possible, and they could, they don't even have to be minimumed. And this Ren band could still have 2 and 3 on it, and it's doing nobody any harm. No, this is ludicrous. This is something to do with set. I'm sure it is. I mean, I suppose what we've got to think about is putting the circles into a different set to the arrows. I'm not actually. Okay. Well, that I don't know why I couldn't see that. No, it's definitely set. I'm now convinced it is, because I've just realised as I've drawn in these rows how constrained the column. I wanted to put these circles in a different set to green, and I've now seen that when I do that, I'm actually going to overlap everything, which I hadn't realised. I should have realised that, but I didn't. Okay, but anyway, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 3 columns of the Sudoku and 3 rows of the Sudoku. Now, why, you might say, are we doing this? Well, the reason we're doing this is that I can absolutely categorically tell you that the green cells that I've highlighted are 3 complete rows of the puzzle. And therefore, they comprise, these green cells in total, comprise 3 complete sets of the digits 1 to 9, because once this puzzle is filled, the rules of Sudoku dictate that each row will have the digits 1 to 9 once each. So green overall has 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9. But blue overall also has 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9, because that's 3 complete columns of the grid. So we can say at the start that the blue set of digits is exactly identical to the green set of digits. Nobody, I think, would argue with that. Now, what I'm going to claim now is that if I remove this cell from the green and the blue set, what can we now say about the remaining digits in green and blue? Well, what we can say is that blue overall and green overall still contain the same thing. And that's because they contained the same thing before I took the same thing out of both, because this digit came out of both sets, and I could do that for any bichromatic cell. Now, here it gets interesting, because at the moment blue and green are exactly the same set of digits. We don't know what the digits are anymore, because we don't know what's in the digits we've taken out of both sets, but we know they contain the same thing. Therefore, if we sum up the blue digits, we're going to get a total that it's exactly the same total as if we sum up the green digits that are remaining. Now we can use the fact that these circles are in different are a different colour to the green, because if I took these 2 cells out of the green set and that cell out of the blue set, then what remains in blue and green should still sum to the same total, shouldn't they? Even though the set of digits won't be the same anymore, because we're taking 2 digits out of green and only 1 digit out of blue, because green and blue at this point add to the same thing, they must still add to the same thing. If I take those out, they must still add to the same thing. If I take those out, they must still add to the same thing, still add to the same thing, still add to the same thing, still add to the same thing. Right, so what's that doing then? So at the point we're at, we know that the green digits, whatever they happen to be, sum to exactly the same total as the blue digits. Now the blue digits sum to a minimum of, I'm going to say, 3 triangular numbers, 6, 10 and 15, I think. 31 would be the minimum. So the way I'm getting that is I'm imagining I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, 1, 2, 3 in here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. So 31 is the minimum total for blue. So 31 is the minimum total for green. Ooh, that doesn't feel very difficult at all, actually. It must be something to do with the fact that yeah, you can't just put any old digit in. So I can't. Well, when I say I can't, if I put any old digit in here, if I put 9 in there, it does have an effect on blue, doesn't it? Because that's putting 8 and 7 in blue versus a 9. So the difference would be 6 in blue's favour. But I suppose what you could do is you could actually have 0 in blue's favour. So you could equate them like that. So I'm just wondering, can the single digit, if you like, is the best the single digit does on a 3-cell Renban? The best it does is it equals the 2 totals in the other colour. And all of the single digit, the 3-cell Renbans, they all only have 1 cell in green. So the best we can do is to equate this, equate this, equate this. And if we did that, well, that's not even putting any pressure on anything. I mean, it seems very easy for me to say that those blue digits can add up to whatever the green happens to add up to, whether this is small or big. That's very achievable. Okay, so that's weird. I mean, there's something going on here, because this has revealed a pattern. It's just that I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand how to think about this from this point. So if we were to leave out the Renbans, where are we left with then? We're left with these digits. So the minimum value of those digits would be 1, 2, 3 here, 1 here and 1 here, so that's 8. So if you did that, then you'd have to, then when we'd have 8 in blue versus 12 in green, so the maximum difference between the remaining, well, the blues would have to only be greater than the greens that we still had to put in by 4. But we know that it's possible to create a 3-cell Renban where there's no difference. But I suppose if you did that here, if you had a 3 here and a 1, 2 pair here, well, which you couldn't have if you made that a 1, actually. Ah, hang on, that might be of interest. If you make this 2 and 3, what happens then? Then, in order for this to be a Renban, this digit, well, this digit is 1 or 4, but what you're trying to do, I think, is is to maximise the value of green, isn't it? Relative to blue. Yeah, that feels right. Let's let me think about that again. So what I'm saying is that on every 3-cell Renban, the blue digits are trying to be greater than their green dogleg. So if we just focus for a moment on these orange squares, the two blue digits are desperately trying to be much bigger than their green dogleg. And for example, if we made this 9, this would be 8, 7, and the blue digits would be 6 greater. Now, what we've noticed is that's undoubtedly going to break the world, because even if I minimise the blue digits that I've got that aren't affected by Renbans, I can make these add up to 8. These add up to 12, so I've got 4 to play with. No, I could have 5 to play. I could have 5 to play with because of this one, actually. That's a good thought. Right, so if this digit is you see these are consecutive, this blue and this green here. So if I make the green bigger than the blue, then I've got at least 5 to play with. I've got at most 5 to play with. So I have to achieve these orange squares. The blue digits cannot be greater than 5 lots than 5, or the greens plus 5. And that does feel difficult, because even if I had, well, it's very difficult actually if I put 1s into these squares, because if I do that, then these two squares are definitely going to be greater than that, because if this is a 2-3 pair and I maximise the value of that now, which is 4, you can see that the blues have won. On this Renban, the blues have won by 1, because they add up to 5 and the green only adds up to 4. And that's only going to get worse as these get bigger, to the limit, which is where you have 8, 7 here and the 9 here. So the best you do in terms of the blues versus greens equation, well, the best you do is where you do 3 versus a 1-2 pair. But if okay. And if you did this, let me just think about where you get to if you do put 1s into these two squares. If you do that, then this could be 4, 5, which is adding up to 9, but that could be a 6, so the gap would be 3, 4, 5. That's okay. That's it. Right. This is very complicated. And why doesn't it work then? So I think I'm getting to the point where I can explain it, but I just need to think about something else, which is if I take 1 out of here and instead put it in there, I make that 3, then the minimum value of this is 3, and the overall value of those 4 cells is now in favour of blue by 3, because we've got 6 here and 3 in green. Whereas that's worse, is what I'm saying, than if I put 1 here and make this 2, 3 and make that 4, then the overall effect of this green versus blue is 2. So I'm more efficient. Okay, right. So I'm now going to claim I can do this, although it is a bit complicated. So let's go through it slowly. But I think I can now see how it has to work. Right. So what I'm going to claim, we've worked out that green and blue are equal. They have equal totals. But the problem here, as I've been explaining, hopefully it's been clear, is that when you put the 2 digits in the blue on these Renbans, it's almost certain, unless these are a 1-2 pair, that the blues are greater than the green. The best you can do is make them equal, but in most circumstances the blues are much greater than the green. But even if we minimise the blues that have nothing to do with Ren bands, and even if we make this green actually greater than this blue, which is we can, that only gives us, so if this is say 5 and this is 4, then we've got 12, 13, if you like, in favour of green, minus 8 for these squares. So we've got 5 to play with as an absolute best case. So how do we keep these Ren bands down to just favouring blue by 5 overall? Because if we go greater than that, we're breaking the world. Mathematics will not work. The blues will be greater overall than the greens. Well, we can do it. We can do it. And that's by, this would have to be a 2-3 pair, and this would have to be a 4. And you can see that gives a difference of 1 in favour of blue. So just looking at those 3 squares, we've got 5 in blue, 1 and 4 in green. So overall, blue picks up 1 to the baddies. Don't forget, we've got 5 to play with overall. We could do the same here, couldn't we? Or here. We don't know which way round it's going to go, but if this is 2, 3 and that's 4, again, another 1 to the baddies. So we're now at 2 to the baddies, and we've got 5 to play with. What do we put into these squares? Well, these could be 4 and 5, 9, and this square here could be a 6, because it has to be consecutive, don't forget. And that gives us overall 3 more. So we've now got 5 to the baddies. That's the minimum we can do. And the only other rinky-dink just to mention is it doesn't work to not make this digit a 1. Because if you don't make this digit a 1 and you do try and do the trick where you do a 1-2 pair here and put a 3 to equalise these out, the problem with that is this is now at least a 3. So you've actually used up 3 to the baddies there. And by the time you get down here and you put 4, 5 and 6 in, you've got another 3 to the baddies. You've still got 1 to the baddies over there, and the whole world is full of baddies. And we don't want the world to be full of baddies. We want it to be, in this case actually, we want it to be neutral, where the baddies and the goodies sort of cancel each other out. So, what does all this mean? Well, you might well ask, but I think what Myxo's done is to set it up so that, firstly, I must try not to sneeze, but we need 1s here. We need this to be a 1, 2, 3 triple, which actually is very good because that puts a 1 here by Sudoku. I mean, it's outrageous being made to do Sudoku in this puzzle. Now, these differ in favour of green by 1. So if we made the blue higher than the green, that wouldn't work. And obviously these are consecutive, so the green can't be loads bigger than the blue. So this cell is 1 greater than this cell, but we don't know what the values are. Doesn't matter. Well, it does matter at some point, but not yet. Now, in terms of our oranges, what's going on here? Well, in this column, these have to be 2, 3, and this has to be a 4, because there's no other way we can only achieve a 1 to the baddies result. Now, this is more complicated on this side because one of these little thingies, these 3-cell thingies, is going to be a 2, 3 pair with a 4 opposite it, and one of them is going to be a 4, 5 pair with a 6 on the dog leg. But I don't know which way up they go. And overall, we then achieve equality between goodies and baddies. Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, it is borderline unbelievable that the whole grid, that sort of checkerboarding of the whole grid, can lead to a pattern that allows you to put anything in at all. Now, what can we do with this? I haven't got a clue. Let's think. I mean, this column is the most restricted because it effectively has a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 quintuple in it. So the other digits are 6, 7, 8 and 9, one of which is circled. Oh dear, sorry, I'm not seeing it yet. I'm sure there's something clever we can do. Is it the given? The given digits knock 7 out of there. Sudoku. Right, that digit there is the same as that digit, isn't it? But imagine this is a 2, then both of these are 3. And that digit has to go there, so maybe it's colouring. Let's just colour those in. They're all the same. Do we need to keep track of our? No, I might get rid of my blues and greens now. I know it's slightly, it's probably risky to do it, but I'm going to risk it. I can always unwind and restate the colours, but let's make that blue. And I've just got to remember this digit is 1 greater than this digit. That's the only other thing that we have to bear in mind. But that digit is 2 or 3 now. This isn't 6 actually, because if that was 6, this would either be a 1-5 pair or a 2-4 pair, and neither of those will work. If this is 7, you couldn't do 4-3 or 2-5, so you'd have to do no, it's not 7, is it? Yeah, sorry, that's obvious. I didn't realise it, but it is obvious. It can't be 7, because this is 2 or 3. And that would make this 4 or 5. If this is 8, this is 6. This would be 6. If this is 9, oh, this would be 6 or 7. Oh, bobbins. Okay, so it's 6 or 7, this digit. Oh, I suppose that digit's blue, because it sees the orange digit in its column. Yes, I see. Right, where is the blue digit in this box? I don't know, but it's in one of those squares, isn't it? And now blue in the middle box is placed on the other arrow. So I've now got a sort of double blue thing going on. So blue is up there somewhere. What does that mean? So if this was not a 1 now, it would be at least a 6. So there would be an 8-9 pair in row thingy. 6, 7. I have a feeling that puts double 9 in here, but maybe that's wrong. If that's 6, oh, I can do Sudoku. This is a this is a 1 by Sudoku. I don't think this can be a 6 anyway, because if it's a 6, this is at least a 7. So these are at least 13, plus 5 is 18, and these can't be double 9. So it does. I think this is a 1 by other reasons. But look, where's 1 in box 5? It's in one of these squares, and now by Sudoku it's on the tip of this arrow. So this digit, well, this is great. This actually is disambiguated blue and orange, because now this can't be a 2, because then this would be orange, because it would be 3. So that's a 3. So blue is 3. I think, which means orange is 2. Let's just see what that does to the world. This adds up to, we've guessed it, 4 by mathematics. There's a 4 in one of those squares. That probably does a lot of things, but I can't immediately see what. Does it sort this out? No, it doesn't actually. Is it? Oh, I see, it is. Yeah, okay. So where is 1 in box 1 now? And in theory, it can't be here, because remember this digit is going to be bigger than this one. That was one of the things that we wanted to happen. So this is 1. So this is 1. So this is going around the grid. It's beautiful. Good grief. So we've got almost all the 1s. 1, 2. Yeah, we've got certainly several of them. Now, is there more to play with then in terms of one of these arrows, or arrow, I'm calling them arrows. One of these Ren bands is a 2-3 with a 4 on its right. Yes, because one of these is 4. That's obviously not 4, you silly man, Simon. So this is a 4. One of these is a 6. So 6 is in one of those 2 squares in box 6. One of these is a 4-5 pair. I'm sure there's a way that I'm meant to be able to do that and know which way round it goes. I can't see immediately what that way is. Those 2 squares add up to at least 5. If these were a 2-3 pair, so this is at least a 5. That's a very poor deduction. Sorry. Wow. Okay. And this digit. Well, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, but it's not 9 because we know this has to be greater. So this is 5, 6, 7. It's not 7. This is 5, 6, 8, or 9. So that can't be 6. I don't think that's doing anything remotely useful. That can't be 3. Because if that was 3, this would be 4, look. So 3 is in one of those 2 squares. Is that doing something? Yeah. Yes, it is, isn't it? So a simple question. Where's 3 in row 2? And weirdly, I think it's only got one place it can go. By Sudoku, it's got to be here, which is rather nice. What's happened? That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. The 3s are going into the grid. This is sensationally clever. Honestly, it's absolutely ludicrous. Oh, this is massive. Right. Not only do we get these 3s going in, but look, this now can't be the 2-3 pair. So this is the 4-5 pair. That's a 6. So this is a 4. This now is the 2-3 pair. So 2 by Sudoku is there, which is a lovely thought. 2's in one of these 2 squares in box 7. So 2 goes in the other corner up here. Make sure we make it orange. Oh, that's doing it. 2 and 3 go in, so that's 3. We can do a lot of tidying up in the world of 3-age. And in the world of 2-age, we are... Well, yeah, look, where's 2 in this row? It can't go here, because this can't be a 3. It can't go there by Sudoku, so it does go there, which means this does add up to 5 by maths. Now that's not 5, which means that's not 6. And this is not 5, so that's not 4. So these have got bigger. Wow. Wow. Okay, how many 2s have I got in the grid? The answer is a lot. Okay, so 2s. Right, this can't be a 1. If that's a 1, this is a 4, and it clashes. So the 1 goes there. 1 I never awarded a colour, that's a 1. Have I done all the 1s? I have. This can't be a 2, because then this would be a 3 by maths. So the 2 must go here, the 2 goes here as a result. Those 2s all get oranged, and I think I've done all the 1s, 2s and 3s. Might be wrong, but I think I have. And 2 and 3 add up to 5, so that's a 5. Which means that's a 4 and that's a 5. This is a 5. This is just sick. This is ridiculous. Good grief. Okay, so in the bottom row I need 7, 8, and 9. Let's just put those in and see if we can do anything. That's not 6 anymore. I've got an 8, 9 pair in column 8, which is doing a... Oh, I've got a 6, 7 pair. Right, so I've got an 8, 9 pair in row 5 now. That feels like it's nearly very helpful, doesn't it? I need 7, 8, and 9, I think, in the final column. How are the 7s, 8s, and 9? Oh, this is probably why we've been given some digits. Oh, nearly. So 7 is in one of those squares. 7 is in one of these squares. Can we do anything with that? 6 is... Oh, maybe it's this one. I haven't used this arrow at all, look. So what's this digit? That is a minimum of 5. So it's 5, 6, 7, or 8. And this is 6, 7, 8, or 9. That's actually very unhelpful. It doesn't do anything at all, I don't think. Maybe 5s. Let's double-click 5s. Can we do anything clever with those? Yes, where's 5 in box 3? It's there. So I see. And now I get the 5 here by Sudoku, of course, which means this is a 6. Where is 6 in box 1? This is really remarkable. This is a very, very, very remarkable puzzle. 6 and 2 add up to 8. That does a few other things. If this is 8, that's not 8. That's also not 7 by Sudoku. Look, so what's that? That's a 6, apparently. Now I get a 7, 8 pair in here, which means this square's a 9. Maybe I haven't thought enough about 4s. That's possible. Yeah, look. There's a 4, 6 pair that I've never seen in this box. So this is 7, 8, or 9. It's not 9. It's not 7. So that's apparently an 8. And that's a 4. Which means that's a 4 by Sudoku. One of those is a 4. It's not actually resolved. I thought it was all going to be resolved. 7, 8, 9 to be placed. So this digit is 7 or 9. Look, in this row, where's the 8? It's definitely over here, isn't it? So that's got to be 7. And then the Renban, where we know this is 1 greater, resolves everything. Good Lord. That's a 7. That's a 7, that's an 8, so this is an 8. That's an 8. Oh, I see, that's fine. So this is an 8. That's a 7. We might be at the point where we're just going to be tasked with filling the puzzle in, actually. 5, 7, 5, 7. This is 9, this is 7. This is 6, this is 4. Okay, that's probably okay, isn't it? 4 and 9 at the top, so the 9 goes here, the 4 goes here. This is 8, this is 9. This is 9, this is 7, this is 7, this is 5, this is 5, this is 6. That's astonishing. That's absolutely astonishing. Wow. Myxo, take a bow. That is... I'm sort of lost for words, actually. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, there was nothing... Well, there wasn't nothing, but there was no... The fact that that all fitted together and led to a unique solution, it's breathtakingly clever. That is a absolutely world-class puzzle. Like, historically world-class as well. It's not just every day we do a world-class puzzle on this channel. We're lucky enough to do that. But that is historically crazy. It's one of those puzzles that, you know, 3-4 years ago, before set became something that I understood a bit, I'd never ever have been able to solve that. And now I just about can. But you still can't quite believe that the digits can dance around like that and work. I mean, amazing. Just amazing. Myxo, astonishing puzzle, my friend. Thank you very much for watching. If you're still watching, let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.